What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for the next upcoming days and talk about why Tesla is showing a lot of relative weakness right now. I'm also going to break down why tomorrow is going to be a big day for the markets because we have the midterm elections, and also what you should be watching for when it comes to the news affecting Tesla and the data. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. And not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is any of these 12 free stocks could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in a week. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Looking at Tesla, guys, this thing did have the potential to see a small bounce today. I was hoping that that would happen. However, it ended up not happening this soon. And this is actually kind of surprising. And the reason for that is because when you look at the data right here and we compare Tesla to like the QQQ, Tesla tends to be correlated with the market. Tesla tends to actually move up when the QQQ pushes up. What happened was, this time in the markets, the QQQ ended up outperforming Tesla of all things, and Tesla is now showing lots of weakness. Why on earth is this happening? Well, we have a very low price pairs ratio. It's continuing to come down, which is not good. This is one of the lowest we've actually seen in a long time, and it does look like it's going to continue to come down. We are seeing many analysts being very bullish on Tesla for the long term, as am I. And Tuesdays tend to be green about like 51% of the time. But why is Tesla coming down? It's because of this right here, or at least this is one of the main reasons. The short interest on Tesla went up on Friday, and today it looks like it continued to go up as many shorts began to pile in, and it does look like they want to cause Tesla to come down even more from here. Now, on Tesla's end, we do have another bearish signal, at least for like the next upcoming days. I'm not saying specifically tomorrow has to just cause, a big crash for Tesla. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying though that overall I am more bearish based on this, and we need more confirmation for this, but it does look like Tesla is going to come down over the next few days because the volume was 92 million and Tesla was actually down 5%. This means that Tesla is dropping on high volume, which is not the best of signs. We're seeing lots of sellers continuing to come in. And then if you look at the shorts volume percentage, right now it's at about, let me see, like it was at 43% the last time Tesla pumped, and it is likely going to start coming up, which means that the shorts, the sellers are starting to pile into the stock and they want to drag it down. What else is interesting is max pain for the week is at $220. This tends to be where Tesla closes around, but this time Tesla's well below it. So it does seem very likely that it's not going to matter and that the shorts are just going to be relentless in the future and they may try to bring this thing down even more. Now, when it comes to Tesla and the market, right now the overall market is quite greedy because the market is pumping a bit as I predicted. And I did want this to actually help Tesla, but it turns out it's not necessarily helping us. I want to actually break down exactly why. When it comes to earnings, we have some big earnings coming up. We had Palantir already. We're going to have Disney and AMC very soon, not to mention like Roblox and Rivian and Neo. We have lots of pretty decent and big earnings coming out, especially Disney for tomorrow. I'm going to be very interested in how this affects Disney because of the fact that we are seeing the Fed continuing to be more hawkish. Now, for Tesla, what am I essentially seeing? Well, I mentioned to everyone in my previous video, I was anticipating a bullish move for the SPY. I wanted to see SPY break above. My target was above 378. We ended up going above it and hitting about 380, so a little bit higher than expected. And I was anticipating a nice push today. Now, what else is interesting is the VIX does look like it has a little bit more room to come down, which is why the whole market might continue to pump up a bit more. We're hitting a very key zone very soon around that 23.5, followed by 22.64. The VIX could easily hit these before getting a big bounce, causing the market to drop a little bit later. Apple was green. Meta was green as well. It had a nice day. AMD was green. We saw a lot of green in the markets, guys. QQQ, this thing was up over 1%. All right, this thing was pushing up again. And this is actually very important because now that the QQQ is showing some strength, it's actually showing different relative strength compared to Tesla. So the market is seeing quite a bit of green. the EV sector is taking a hit. And overall, a lot of these mega caps are down compared to their all-time highs, hitting new lows because the market runs in cycles. When the market runs in cycles, all right, the small to mid caps were the first ones to take the big hits. Now they're not crashing as hard, and now the mega caps are the ones starting to see some pain. Now it's like Apple was down pretty hard for some time. It did bounce a bit, but now like Amazon, Google, Meta, these companies are still relatively low compared to their all-time highs and where they were like a couple of weeks ago, a few months ago. And now Tesla's finally joining the party and starting to come down pretty hard. The real question is, what is Tesla going to do? Well, on the daily, this looks like a very bearish candle. However, please note we were pretty red on Friday. We were also a red today. So when we tend to see this much red in a row, what tends to happen is we get a small bounce and we need to see confirmation of the downside. And if this thing doesn't necessarily get the big bounce or like hold these new levels, these higher levels up here, we're likely going to see a big continuation down into this 193 to 190 zone. So what I'm hoping for is, not what I'm hoping for. What I'm essentially seeing is Tesla still looks more like bearish. All right, but before we come down, there might be kind of like a small push up like this. And what Tesla has to do is we first have to bounce. All right, if you want to be a bull on this stock, you first want to see this thing bounce. If this thing bounces, we have resistance at 198 and then 200. All right, we have to push above 200 again. And if we do manage to do that, we have to break above 204. We have to. Because if we don't do that, look at the trend right here, guys. This thing has a tendency of coming down, push up a bit, come down very hard. What happened a couple of days ago? Tesla came up, we came down, we push up a little bit more, then boom, another big drop. And now this thing looks like, all right, we're trading kind of sideways. We could try to pump a little bit. We did close below 200. It's the first time we did this in a very, very long time. And it's not the best of things for Tesla. So what I'm thinking is we could see a small pump to about the 200 zone. However, given the relative weakness and how weak Tesla is looking, how relentless these shorts could be, in my opinion, if I'm going to be honest, guys, we're not seeing as many buyers stepping in here, right? Could this change in one day because of midterms? Sure. But as of right now, Tesla's not seeing lots of buyers coming in. Wall Street is actually taking the opposite approach. And it looks to me like, okay, if we do pump up a bit with the market to like 200, maybe like 202, I don't really see Tesla breaking above like 204, hitting 205, 209. I don't see that happening. It looks more like there could be a small push up followed by another big rejection. And this thing may continue to make new lows again and come all the way down to this 193 to 190 level that I was talking about. It's very unfortunate, but this is what the chart is essentially showing us. In my previous video, guys, I mentioned, okay, if we broke below the previous demand zone, which was between 198 to 202, this thing has potential to come all the way down to 190 in the future. Now, I also mentioned that I thought we would get a nice bounce because historically, if you look at the daily charts, first off, Tesla was moving with the QQQs historically, right? It tends to do that. This time it did not do that, which is showing weakness. On top of that, if you look at the trend right here, we have one touch in this low level, nice bounce, another touch, nice bounce. We are coming down, so you might think there might be a bounce, but it's just not showing as much life to actually do that just yet. I don't think it's going to be a big bounce, guys. I'd be very cautious. Overall, we have kind of like a triple bottom like formation. It is not looking like this thing is forming. Like I think if people were talking about an inverse head and shoulders, I don't really see that at all now. We've kind of invalidated this. It looks more like we could pump a tiny bit to the upside just as confirmation of this very, very bearish move, and then come down even harder to new lows. And the shorts are going to continue to pile in and bring this thing all the way down to the 190 level, in my opinion. And then if we break below that, as historically we actually are able to bounce off 190. If we don't hold that, this thing is going to come down to the 180s, unfortunately. I know people don't like to hear that, but that is what this is essentially telling us. And overall, this is not necessarily confirmed to be like super bullish for the next like 2 3 days like guaranteed just yet. We need some confirmation by tomorrow. Does this thing hold up a bit? Does this thing try to bounce a bit? In my opinion, it's going to try to do that, but I don't expect a very strong move to the upside. I think Tesla is more likely to come down now because, like I said, the shorts are still piling in. Now, another big thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that there are lockdowns in China. It's very strict over there. It is affecting demand in the country. It's going to affect production and things like that. There's also a lot of news coming out about Elon Musk, and the market does not like this. Tesla investors don't like it either. Basically, what they're saying is ever since Elon Musk acquired Twitter, Tesla is crashing. And the truth is, that is not necessarily how it works because correlation does not mean causation. Tesla is down for many reasons. It's not just because of Elon Musk, it's also down because of demand that's coming down. It's down because of the future forecasts. It's down because of their margins and also their earnings, where they are anticipating not the strongest Q4 production and delivery comparison. It's likely going to see a lot of production, but not as much deliveries because of the slowdown in demand. On top of that, guys, in my honest opinion, what I think about Elon Musk, I'm still very amazed by him. I have lots of respect for him. I think he's done an amazing job working at Tesla and for everything he has accomplished. We can't forget about the gains he helped millions of people make around the world. We can't forget about his vision, the sustainable future he believes in, and his hard work and perseverance. He is much appreciated for that. However, if I do have to say anything about him, I mean, one thing that I wish he would do a little bit differently would be how much he's actually focusing on Twitter. I know that he is acquiring the company. I know that he's very focused on it, but recently I have not seen him mention essentially anything important about Tesla for a very long time. Actually, he seems to be way more focused on Twitter, which is like fine, but I just wish that he would say a lot more things about Tesla because his tweets, his activity is very important. And the fact that he's not doing this is kind of like fueling more FUD that's out there, more fear that's out there that Musk is not as fixated on Tesla. He's more focused on Twitter. And it's part of the reason why Tesla did come down. Is it the only reason? No, but it is playing somewhat of a role because investors want him to be more focused on Tesla. They want him to prioritize that instead of saying some of the things that he has said. I also noticed that Musk has been making very political statements, which is like, in my opinion, I'm okay with that because I am an advocate for freedom of speech. But at the same time, guys, it does have consequences. Our words do have consequences, so I do believe that he should be very careful with what specific comments he makes. But then again, I mean, it is his choice. It's completely fine, like I mentioned, but it is also important to be more careful. So when it comes to Musk, I wouldn't blame him for this entire move. I have seen no confirmation of him selling because some people are talking about that. That's not what's going on right here. However, when it comes to the way I'm seeing this, it does look like we're going to see a small bounce to the upside retest like 200. If we don't break above 200 and start to show some nice volume and continue to push up, guys, this thing is likely going to see another big drop and make new lows again. I think that's a lot more likely now because the buyers did not come when I really wish they would between 198 and 202. And it does look like this thing is set for new lows to come as the mega caps are now starting to take the big hits. It's also because of earnings and the current forecasts in the market. So please be ready, guys, for tomorrow. I'm not going to really draw this out. I just want to talk about the key levels. Tesla might bounce tomorrow. All right. We may end up kind of like retesting 198, breaking above that, then retesting 200. If this thing continues to trade the way it has, we're going to see lots of sideways action between 200 and 198. Because of midterms, the market is likely going to rally. So far, this has not affected Tesla. But if this thing breaks above 200, all right, if you guys are watching this, we have to see this thing break and hold like 204 if there wants to be any hope for the bulls in this case. If this thing does not break and hold 204, come back to this zone between 204 and 205. If it doesn't do that, this thing is likely going to end up coming down eventually over the next like couple of days, maybe as soon as tomorrow, come all the way back down. If we do close kind of green tomorrow, which I think is a little bit more likely, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm super bullish for the short term, guys. I think this thing is likely going to continue to come down and slowly come down to about 193 to 190 over the next couple of days, if not lower, depending on where the buyers step in. The shorts can be very relentless, but for the short term, like I said, small bounce, maybe a retest of like 200, if not 204, if this thing has enough momentum. But like I said, it's very unlikely for us to go that high, followed by a big rejection and another follow through to more potential downside in the next upcoming days, is what I'm basically seeing for Tesla. It's very unfortunate, but it is the truth, and it is the truth that is super, super essential for all traders to actually know. Watch the buyers, watch the options flow, see if we see more buyers. As of right now, we're not getting the same buying pressure, and the stock is showing lots of relative weakness, which is why I do believe more downside is yet to come. I'm sorry about my video from yesterday, by the way. I mean, I was hoping that more buyers would come between 198 to 202. They did not show up, unfortunately, despite the fact that did historically happen. So it's looking like if we get a small bounce, completely fine, followed by a big drop again, seems very likely over the next couple of days. Midterm elections could play a role in helping Tesla a little bit, but overall, guys, with CPI coming out not being pretty good in my opinion, I'm still anticipating more downside for this market, and it will have a negative effect on Tesla, unfortunately. Thank you all for listening. Please note that I'm not necessarily a long-term bear on Tesla. For the short term, I do anticipate some downside because of market conditions. For the long term, I'm still very, very bullish. I believe Tesla will break all-time highs. I believe their AI technology, the full self-driving technology, their humanoid robots, their cars, their deliveries, and all these things are going to be very amazing for the long-term future. And I just look at these big moves to the downside as very good buying opportunities for the long term. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.